Hi, everybody. I'm Kendall Kohler, and I'll cover the third project type eligible for surfboard funding, which is restoration. Restorations are actions or activities that restore a site to its original historic function as part of a natural ecosystem or that improves the ecological function of a site. The result of the restoration project is a habitat that is self-sustaining, which means that it will not require continual intervention to function as a natural ecosystem. Restoration may be a standalone project or as part of a larger project that focuses on other project types. These projects can be phased, but each individual phase must have a measurable salmon benefit. We also ask that restoration projects be completed within 3 to 5 years. The next few slides include examples of eligible restoration project types. The first I'm going to mention here is in-stream passage. This is where we restore fish passage at barriers at road crossings and other human-made structures by removing the barrier or replacing them with fish-passable structures such as bridges and culverts. This can also include the installation of fishways and roughened channels. In-stream diversions and fish screens can be installed to prevent fish from entering water diversions. This includes creating bypasses so fish that do enter these systems are not stranded and are returned to the stream. In-stream flow enhancements can include removing diversions completely and replacing them with on-demand groundwater systems with pumps and therefore reducing the amount of water lost to evaporation or leaky conveyance systems. Of course, restoration covers in-stream and floodplain habitat restoration. Projects can include the addition of large wood, reconnecting side channels and floodplain habitat, restoring channels to a more natural state, removing or setting back levees and bank revetments, and numerous other activities that enhance in-stream fish habitat. Riparian stewardship is also eligible and includes planting native species and removing invasives. Project type can include some of the activities previously mentioned, but is also a standalone project type that follows up on previous work to ensure the success of those previous enhancement activities. This project type requires a riparian enhancement plan, as mentioned earlier, and Josh will cover more on riparian projects in the following section. Restoration can also be applied along marine shoreline and nearshore habitat. This can be estuary restoration, dike or bulkhead removal, tidal channel reconstruction, and removing non-functioning tide gates. The last restoration examples I'll share with you today are upland habitat projects. These projects can include the installation of livestock exclusion fencing. It can also address erosion and sediment delivery control from roads and steep slopes, and eliminating sediment delivery to streams and marine waters. We also include road decommissioning and removal as eligible project type to help reduce some of the detrimental effects of roads, salmon habitat, and restore natural and historical ecological function. Those are great examples, but don't be afraid to be creative and think outside the box when developing your project. Please refer to Restoration Grant Manual 5 or speak with an RCO grant manager if you have any questions about developing your restoration project. Manual 5 will be your resource for eligible restoration project types, as well as eligible restoration activities and pre-agreement costs. Lastly, I'll end on an important note. For restoration projects seeking more than $350,000, you must provide preliminary designs as part of your application. We require preliminary designs because they advance a site-specific alternative into a more detailed understanding and quantification of all the major project elements, and results in design drawings and a basis of design report that meet the permit requirements for state and federal agencies. Please see project deliverables table in Appendix D of Manual 18 that John showed us earlier for more details and definitions around design requirements. This table specifies the required deliverables for each stage of project design and serves as a resource in developing the scope of work for the design and engineering team.